Collaboration is a path that many artists choose to invigorate their art practice. It's also a way to meet new people over ink and paper, needle and thread. Two collaborative works I find intriguing are Audibility, Audibilidad by Carrie Ann Plank, Hanoi Perez, and Adie, an Interwoven Alphabet by Alisa Banks and Diane Jacobs. Audibility, Audibilidad first captured my attention through its arresting pressure-printed patterns. These are the contribution of Carrie Ann Plank. Plank is a California Bay artist with a Master of Fine Arts degree from Pennsylvania State University and has been an artist and instructor for over 20 years. Adie is a printmaker, book artist, and musician based in Copenhagen. Adie co-runs a print residency, Edition Basel, in Basel, Switzerland. Together, Plank and Adie came to Havana, Cuba for a print residency at Taller Experimental de Gráfica de la Habana. There they met printmaker and international curator Hanoi Perez. Perez earned his degree from the University of Arts in Havana, graduating with honors. Perez has been collaborating with artists like US-based book artist Stephen Daber for 20 years. When Plank and Adie came to the studio in Havana and learned Perez was also a book artist, they decided to go beyond the printmaking and make an artist book together. They focused on 4 concepts intrinsically related to the day-to-day life of any Cuban: search, wait, resolve, and want. These 4 concepts ruled the daily routine of Perez. Perez told me the objective was to approach these concepts from the personal experience of their own individual senses, especially what they were hearing and seeing. Plank's prints are based off wave patterns, both sound and magnetic, and speak to the information and communication experienced during their 2017 artist residency. They are meant to capture the noise and visceral quality of the Cuban landscape. The text is written by Perez in Cuban and Adie in English. None of these 3 languages are translations of the other. They are individual investigations of the same concept, bound together. The concepts are buscar, to search, esperar, to wait, resolver, to solve problems, and querer, to want. This is Adie's voice reading her investigation of buscar, to search.
Buscar. To search, audibly, actively, consciously, constantly. Watchfulness as a character trait. Eyes like ears, listening for the smallest thing, under the twinned squares of roof and sky.
Perez told me most of his books are purely visual. He rarely uses words, so this was a new experience and a good challenge. Here is Perez's investigation of esperar, to wait. Let's listen.
Esperar. Espera. Espera, 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 espera. Espera, 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 espera. Espera, 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 espera. Espera, 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 espera. ¿Hasta cuándo?
Through the repetition of esperar over and over, I hear his need, his annoyance, his expectation, his anger, and impatience, all said through one word. Through Plank's visual exploration, I can imagine the sounds of the ink and the motion of the rollers echoing the wheels of industry, vehicles, and the sound of the road. Let's listen again while Perez reads his own words for resolver, to solve.
Resolver. El problema es que este viejo radio ya no se oye bien. Mueve la antena. No capto la señal. Mueve la antena. Carajo. Este problema yo lo tengo que resolver.
And as we turn through Plank's visual investigation, we come to Adie's words on querer, to want.
Querer. To yearn is a song, to desire a poem, but to want is a humming, like a radio too low to understand, but loud enough to hear. It's in the background, you forget it's on, it's all there is, the song catches you and lets you go again.
Audibility, Audibilidad is like that. It catches me over and over and lets me go again, just so I can be caught and washed over one more time in the rhythms of sound and pattern on paper. I encourage you to go to the link with the video created by the artists so you can hear and see it all for yourself. Perez expressed to me much delight in the collaboration and satisfaction with what was made. He credits the strong connections and good vibes that permeated his time with Plank and Adie. Interwoven Alphabet by Alisa Banks and Diane Jacobs took the word interwoven to heart as it defines and permeates the nature of the collaboration and the result. Through her art, Banks investigates contemporary culture, her Creole heritage, and the African diaspora. Her work often references traditional craft forms like twisting, knotting, crocheting, and sewing. Jacobs merges life and art, using everyday things such as hair, wishbones, and dollar bills in her artist books. Her creative process helps her understand the complexities, contradictions, and injustices of the world we live in today. Banks and Jacobs began making Interwoven Alphabet in January of 2019 in response to a call for artist books featuring stitching and encouraging collaboration. Jacobs, who lives in Portland, Oregon, reached out to Banks, who lives in Dallas, Texas. It was a long-distance collaboration over FaceTime and emails that eventually focused on a piece of felt left over from a previous project by Jacobs. Through challenges of cutting and softening, the felt became 52 squares they could divide into 2 sets of 26. It was natural they become 2 sets of alphabet blocks. They worked out words separately and together, testing them first by sound and then how they connected a larger story together with the images. They checked in at every turn, stitching their vision and words together through the air, then into felt. They each touched every side of the block with their hands, each sewing something onto each of the sides, trading off halfway through, and then trading off again. Banks told me that Jacobs sewed the blank ID tag on the M block, and it reminded her of her dad who served in Vietnam. Banks added the number of soldiers who died in the Vietnam War and a tiny ribbon rose to the block. Jacobs also added the porcupine quill to the Q block. It pricked Banks in the finger, which inspired her to sew the drop of blood. Banks and Jacobs made 2 sets of blocks with the same words, but different images. This set, in the Cynthia Sears collection, has this beautiful ginkgo tree painted by Jacobs and framed in gold by Banks. To those who wonder how a box of blocks can be a book, I challenge you to come and see for yourself the story in words and images that reveal the everyday meanings that fill these artists' lives. While at first I wanted to know which part of each block each artist contributed, through my Q&A, I quickly learned that the whole thing was entirely interwoven. The embroidered words on the inside of the box were the final task, accomplished at the end, sitting across from each other at Jacob's kitchen table. They each sewed half the words for each box, talking late into the night. Banks told me the collaboration was more meaningful for sharing every step, passing parts back and forth, seeing Jacob's home and meeting her family. It was a new kind of collaboration for her. Jacob said it was a great joy to work with Banks and that she appreciated Banks's different approach, which was more ambiguous and gestural than her own. The stories shared with me about the making of these books are just as engaging as the books themselves. They remind me how when working together, the surprise and delight in the process is exponential.